President Trump is considering new sanctions on Russia as he warns Vladimir Putin over repeated attacks on Ukraine with no peace deal in sight.
Senior White House correspondent Jackie Heinrich is live with the details. Good morning, Jack.
Good morning to you guys. Putin's lackey, Dmitry Medvedev, who served as the bridge between Putin's presidential terms, has posted an implicit threat as President Trump is weighing these harsh sanctions on Russia. Medvedev writes, regarding Trump's words about Putin playing with fire and really bad things happening to Russia, I only know of one really bad thing, World War III. I hope Trump understands this. It comes after President Trump expressed frustration that Putin's continuing to stall peace talks while bombarding Ukraine, saying what Putin doesn't realize is if it weren't for me, lots of really bad things would have already happened to Russia. So far, Trump has resisted enacting those sanctions, believing that the peace talks still stand a chance. But he also said Putin has gone, quote, absolutely crazy, warning that if he tries to take all of Ukraine, it will lead to Russia's downfall.
I don't like what Putin is doing, not even a little bit. He's killing people. And something happened to this guy, and I don't like it.
Trump envoy General Keith Kellogg responded to Medvedev's threat, posting, stoking fears of World War III is an unfortunate, reckless comment by Medvedev and an unfitting of a world power. President Trump is working to stop this war and end the killing. We await receipt of the Russian memorandum term sheet that you promised a week ago. Ceasefire now. Just now, a Putin aide doubled down, saying we believe that Trump is not fully informed about Ukraine's conflict. So far, the Russian response to all of Trump's sanctions that he has been weighing has been to dismiss this as emotional overload and effectively taunt him. But the president's patience does appear to be running thin. The White House, we know, is actively reviewing sanctions options, and already the Senate has a veto-proof bill ready to go that would slap 500% tariffs on any country that buys Russian energy. And you're already hearing from some congressional Republicans say that they are ready to see the Senate act with or without the White House's green light, guys.
But I heard that Senator Thune was almost relieved to see the president come around to what many people think is Vladimir Putin, an irrational actor who has no interest in ceasefire. So if there's 82 votes already, the only thing holding back the Republicans would be not to make the president look bad or to get ahead of the president's foreign policy, right?
Well, they don't want to make things potentially worse or harder for the Trump negotiation team. And part of the logic behind the White House's decision to not go forward with these tariffs so far, the president says that, he still thinks there's a chance for peace. And there's always the chance that putting these sanctions in place could actually harm the negotiations or make things worse. Now, there seems to have been a real change in the president's attitude toward Putin. He often is reticent to criticize him. He thinks that, they've had a long relationship for a long time and believed that he could bring an end to this war and negotiate an end. That has proven to be a very elusive goal. And his commentary over the weekend that something has happened to Putin, he's gone absolutely crazy, is something that we really haven't heard from the president lately. He has often opted to try to, keep the sides at the negotiating table and hope that yields a result. But Russia is saying they won't do the peace talks at the Vatican and stalling on handing over this memorandum. Trump is running out of patience here, guys.
Yep, I can understand it. Thanks, Jackie.
Jackie. Well, the patience are done because the president, I told people this from the very beginning, just give him a chance to set the deck. He was trying to talk with Putin. Putin said that NATO was a threat to him, that everybody wanted World War III, and the president said, okay, I'm going to give you a clean slate. We're going to talk this over, and of course, Putin overplayed his hand. And I can report that it's not just sanctions, it's not just tariffs that are being considered by the president. He doesn't like seeing dead kids. He doesn't like it. He doesn't like seeing women.
What about kidnapped kids?
And the kidnapping.
They kidnap tens of thousands.
He doesn't like it. And Putin and all of his allies that are taunting the president It's not going to work out for you. You should get to the negotiating table. We even tried to give you a new venue, Rome, with a new pope to talk this out, and you still slapped this hand out of the
And
room.
also, it wasn't too long ago. It was May 20th. The president said, we know what they're doing in Russia. We know the capabilities and some of our adversaries and some of our other countries with their nuclear weapons. Yeah. And they're very close to developing. We've heard they're months away in Iran. So the president said on May 20th, he released this on social media, that he had plans for the Golden Dome. And this would intercept any missiles that come over toward America. Donald Trump said adversaries are quickly modernizing their nuclear forces, capable of attacking the U.S. in 1 hour. They can travel 6,000 miles in 1 hour. Pete Hegseth said if we can build this Golden Dome, it will be designed to protect us from cruise missiles, ballistic missiles, hypersonic missiles, drones, whether conventional or nuclear. The cost is expensive. It's $175 billion. And President Trump says it could be operational in 3 years and 100% successful.
Right. So with the Russia threat, number one, they talk about the Russia in particular retooling their entire economy to be focused on war. So they make howitzers and tanks. So they're not, they as J.D. Vance said last week, they don't know how to get out of this. How do you get out of a war economy that 45% of all your GDP is jobs, steel, making weapons? So what you do is you obviously make an alliance with the United States, and you have an economic alliance with rare earth and other things and begin to demilitarize. He just doesn't see it that way, and he's blowing a golden opportunity. With the Golden Dome, he condemns it. They don't want it. China doesn't want it. North Korea doesn't want it.
Of course they don't.
Why? Because this would block all their weaponry and make them and China start working on space and their own golden domes.
Similar to what they have in Israel.
But if you want to stop the nuclear attack, no, it won't work. That would be one way to do it. The other thing is going to cost $25 billion initially, and they say up to $750 billion over the course of 5 to 10 years.
I know you need to get to the political story, but I think the main thing in this Golden Dome, there's a lot there I know, but the drone technology. We are so behind when it comes to the drone technology, and we've learned a lot from the conflict between Russia and Ukraine, and we need that technology here. We're not ready for drone attacks. We got stuff floating in the sky and all that, and we don't know where it's coming from. This could help us modernize.
So we could only make about 100,000 a year. Give you an idea, Ukraine makes 2.2 million. Yeah. So the 90% of drones come from China. Yeah. We came up with that idea. It was Donald Rumsfeld who said, why don't we put a Hellfire missile on one of those drones? And that was us when the early portions of the Afghanistan war. And we just allowed other people to get ahead of us. And we say, if China can do it cheaper, let's buy it from China. What were they thinking? No. This morning, tempers flaring between President Trump and Russia after President Trump's post this warning to President Putin. Warning Putin, quote, is playing with fire. Putin's top security official firing back, in part saying, I only know of one really bad thing that would happen, World War III, and that's just a smaller version of what was going back and forth. State Department spokesperson Tammy Bruce joins us now. So, Tammy, your reaction to how would you characterize the president's attitude towards the increase in cadence of the bombing on innocent targets in Ukraine?
Well, I don't have to really characterize it. The president speaks very clearly for himself. It was very obvious from his Truth Social posts that his patience has worn thin. But it's not even really about patience. It's what every American is feeling when you're looking at, as the president described, indiscriminate bombing on civilian areas, killing civilians, in increasing bombing runs and drone attacks, especially when there's been such a concerted effort by the Trump administration and others to stop that carnage between Ukraine and Russia. It's clear to both parties and to the world that this cannot be solved with violence or more military action. And so the president, who noted in his post that he's known Putin for quite some time, feels that something has happened to him and he's unable to explain it. And clearly, he's quite frustrated enough to express that outrage in public.
So, Tammy, also, it's pretty known that Vladimir Putin wants a summer offensive. He's already taken 100 square miles over the last month. And if this, in fact, happens, we would have a reaction, one of which could come from the Senate. We're 82 senators on the record with extreme sanctions on Russia. Yeah. Is the president in accord with this movement that includes almost all Republicans?
Well, you know, I can tell you, as traveling, of course, with Secretary Marco Rubio, Senator Graham joined us in this last trip. The secretary was very complimentary, not only, of course, toward the senator, but spoke about the bill. The fact is that in the event that the president needs that action, remember, the president has said military action won't solve this problem. Diplomacy will. And certainly we've maintained our sanctions on Russia, and they've hurt Russia. This is the kind of bill that, regardless of what the Senate may do, does signal that we are ready to move quickly, that America is ready to do a maximum pressure framework, if you will, on Russia. And the president has many tools in his tool chest. He clearly is a man who has an end goal in mind and intends to achieve that. So Putin understands that, and I think the Russian people are going to understand that soon as well.
NBC is running with the story that there's a prisoner swap about to happen between U.S. and Russia. Can you confirm that?
I can't speak to that at all. I'm sorry.
All right. Let's talk about what's happening with Harvard, the State Department, and international students, and the President of the United States. It looks like, if the reports are correct, that the State Department has frozen all international visas so they can further review who's coming here and who's not. Your reaction, and what prompted this?
Well, what I can tell you is that we've been, from the beginning of the Trump administration, and Marco Rubio's being the Secretary of State, of course, is that we've looked at a reform in general of this government. We're undergoing it right now. And when we did, as an example, foreign aid reform, it was a matter of stopping and looking at the nature of what it was we were doing and how we could make it better, how we could become more nimble. In the case of visas, first thing I can tell you, Brian, is that we don't give details about the nature of individual cases or what our process is or what our methods are when it comes to vetting. But I can tell you that we will use and have been using every tool in our tool chest to make sure that we know who it is that wants to come into this country and if they should be allowed to come in. Every sovereign nation has a right to make sure that they know who's in their nation and if they are safe to be here, and for the people who want to come to understand that there are expectations when you get here so that we don't have to take your visa and remove you. We want to get this right at the start, and that's what our consular offices, our embassies are doing. And if there's any kind of delay or any kind of framework, it is because of the nature of vetting. And, of course, people are encouraged to continue to apply and take the steps they normally would, and that America is serious about making sure we know who you are and why you want to come here.
Yeah, I don't think that's too much to ask. Over 1.2 million people, international students, want to study here in the United States. Let's make sure they don't hate the United States. Tammy Bruce, thanks so much. Appreciate it. Busy time in the State Department. So much going on.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.